Okay, let's do this Treehouse Pulley one. This is, this is not my favorite exercise. They made this more complicated than it needed to be. Also, they're not very good at explaining what it is they want. So let me solve this the way the book wants to solve it, and then I'll solve it the way that I actually solved it when I took this class myself, which is, I think, just a cleaner way. More complicated, but looks better in the end. Okay, so here's what the book, this is what the book wants. This is all you need to know if you want to just pass the class. Create 3 constants of items, different weights that you'd like to bring up to your fort. One less than 100, between 100 and 1,000, and one over 1,000. So, all right, let's do this. So creating a constant, you just type out let. I'm going to call this baby equal, we'll say the baby is 6 pounds. Let human, so let's just do let man equal 160, and let elephant equal, I don't know how big an elephant is, maybe 3,000, no, probably even more than 3,000 pounds. Let's say it's 4,000 pounds. Okay, so now we've done that. A lightweight treehouse pulley is already created below, but you've decided that if you want to lift, say, a small horse or a piano up to your fort, so you're installing a second pulley with a much bigger basket, create a second pulley that has a higher capacity. So if for some reason this treehouse pulley thing is crashing, like you're getting glitch down here below, what you want to do is make sure that you've downloaded the right version Xcode files. So what I'm saying is when you go to iBooks, on the 3rd or 4th page, there's a download thing. So first check your Xcode, go to About Xcode in the top here, Xcode, About Xcode, and then look at your version. I'm using 10.2. So make sure that you download in the books. I'll show you really quick. Launching books and intro to app development, Swift, and on, let's see if I can go to the chapters. Here we go, this page here. So it's towards the beginning. Make sure you downloaded Xcode 10 project files if you have Xcode 10. If you have Xcode 9, you have to run 9, then make sure you download Xcode 9 files, but don't try to run Xcode 9 files in Xcode 10, or you might run into issues. Okay, so if this is crashing, check that first. I know when I took the class, I had to fix the actual code for the Xcode file. Okay, so create a second pulley that has a higher capacity. So they're saying that we're making this thing called a rickety rope that's returned by calling this function with the weight capacity of 200. So the rickety rope, I guess, can only handle up to 200. So let's make chain rope, if that's even a thing, treehouse pulley. So start typing treehouse pulley and it'll kind of auto-populate that for you. Let's say 2,000 pounds is what the chain can hold. And then we'll do I don't know what, super duper chain rope, and give that a massive weight capacity of like 10,000, just that much. What is that, a million? 10 million? Okay. So the super duper chain rope should be able to handle everything. The chain rope should handle everything except for the elephant, and then the rickety rope should be able to handle the baby and the man. Okay. Now it's saying use the add load to basket method. So what that's saying is the treehouse pulley itself, this here, has its own function inside of it. I wonder if we can look, I can look for it and try to reveal it. If we can find the source, we might be able to show you. Yeah, here it is. Treehouse pulley is a structure, and the structure has some variables and some constants, an initializer, and it also has its own function, can handle additional load. And if the weight, plus the load is less than weight capacity, there's some logic here to figure out if the chain can handle it or not. Okay, so we might not have learned this yet, but this is how you make a structure, and structures can have their own functions. All right, so let's go back. All right, so what I'm saying is, because we've made these treehouse pulleys, these are actual pulleys. They're not like integers or, you know. So I think if you hold down the Alt button, it turns into question mark. You can see that of type is a treehouse pulley. It's its own thing. So they're saying, using that treehouse pulleys, add load to basket method, add the items above. So first thing we have to do then is we have to check to see if, like, for instance, or we probably want to check if the rickety rope can handle the load of elephant. Probably not. If it can, then woohoo, load it up. But else, let's also check if the rickety rope can handle the load of, oh no, then we'll check to see if the chain rope can handle the elephant. Now, we're doing a bunch of ifs and if-elses, and in the future, you might want to do a switch statement for this, which I can show you how to do later. But for now, for this class, for this assignment, else if is fine. And then let's see if the super duper chain rope can handle the load of an elephant. So I'm going to print out then super duper, and then I'll do this one with chain yepper, and then this one is going to be for the rickety. So now technically if we run this, we should get answered. So it's gonna, if we run this, it's gonna check if the rickety rope can handle the elephant, then print this. If the chain rope can handle the elephant, print this. If the super duper chain rope can handle the elephant. So it's only printed super duper. So that means that the only treehouse pulley that can handle an elephant is the super duper pulley. And then it wants us to add the load. So add three of the lightest item, 2 of the middleweight item, and 1 of the heaviest item. Add the items to the lightweight pulley first using can handle additional load. So I probably should have done this in a certain order, is what they're saying. So I'm going to redo this in the order, but this is the idea, is first you check if the rope can handle it, and then if the rope can handle it, then add. So then we can do rickety rope dot add load of elephant. And then this one is like if the chain rope can handle it, chain rope dot add load to basket elephant. Now what's interesting about doing it this way is, let me check something really quick. And what I'm wondering is, if once we add it to the basket, then do we need to add it to a different basket? Right, we should probably only add one elephant. Like if there was a super duper chain rope, then when we get here, we probably want to stop. Which is actually what would happen in the if statement. So if this, then do it. If this is true, then do this thing, and then it bails out. So first it checks this one, then it checks this one, then it checks this one. If none of them can add the chain rope, then it bails. But let's see. What if it can add it to this? All right, I'm not making any sense here. So in an if-else statement, it's going to check to see if the variable is if the condition is true, and if it's true, it's going to execute what's in the middle here. If it's not true, then it continues through the if-else statement. So it's only going to ever add one elephant, is what I'm saying. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. All right. So now I'm going to go back and do this in the order that it wanted me to do it. It said, I'm going to actually type this out. Add 3 of the lightest item, 2 of the middle, and 1 of the heaviest. So it wants 3 babies, 2 men, 1 elephant. We've already got the 1 elephant, so I'm going to take this, cut it, and then I'll put it right here. And then it wants 3 babies. Now what's going to probably happen is once we start adding babies to the load, then it'll add up. Like, so if we add like 3 babies, then it goes from like the rickety rope holding 5 pounds or 6 pounds, whatever the baby was, to like 18 pounds because there's more and more babies on that rope. But it looks like our rope will still hold. So let's do if. In fact, I'm just going to copy and paste some of this up here, which, whenever you're copying and pasting, you might want to look into creating a function. It's probably not the most efficient way is just copying and pasting. So instead of baby, or instead of elephant, we're going to change this to baby. Okay, so now we got the rickety rope, and it's trying to add the baby. And it wants us to do this to add 3 babies. So we'll probably have to just paste this 3 times, unfortunately. Again, this is probably a good use for a function with like a for loop or something. But there you go. We're adding in the babies. And then it wants 2 men. So I'm going to paste in 2 of these and then change this to man. Man. So it should make its way through these if statements and add to the correct pulley. I think at the end I'm going to print out the pulleys and just see what the weights are at for them. All right. Okay. Great. So now I'm going to do some prints just to see what happened here. Print pulley light equals rickety rope dot let's just do dot description and see if they've described it. Pulley light, capacity 200, current load 178. I see. So we were actually able to add the baby and all 3 babies and 1 human to the light rickety rope before it reached its capacity. Then it looks like probably what happened is I'm going to paste this a couple times, pulley medium, and then pulley strong. So I'm going to do rickety rope, then we're going to do chain rope, and then we're going to do the super duper chain rope. And I just want to print out these to see what has happened. Yeah, so there's 1 man on the medium chain, and then there is the elephant on the super duper. Okay, so hopefully this kind of makes a little bit of sense. This is what the book is looking for. In this exercise, you're going to create some constants, then you're going to call, or you're going to create some ropes. So you created some constants, you created some ropes, and then you did some if statements and ran a function. So if it can handle the baby, then add it to the rickety rope. If the chain can handle the baby, add it to the chain, yada, 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 again and again and again. And again, we're copying and pasting a bunch here, so that would probably be more effective as a function. Let's take a look at a different way to solve this. So you don't have to watch this part, but if you want to, then cool. So here's some code that I've uploaded to gist.github. So I'll share this with the class, but look for a Treehouse Pulley fishing line example. So I like fishing, so I made this a fishing thing. I made a perch we'll have 1 pound, walleye 4 pounds, catfish 10 pounds, tuna 100 pounds. It's probably not accurate, but close enough. And now instead of, actually I'm going to copy this into Playgrounds itself so that you can see it actually working. And hopefully it still works. We'll see. So I'm going to Xcode, file, new, Playground. I'll make a blank playground. Treehouse Pulley fishing example. Okay. All right, so I'm pasting this in. Oh, that didn't really work as well as I wanted it to. So let's delete this crap up here. I think that's about it. Oh, and this crap down here. Okay, I've copy and pasted it into Playground so you can kind of see a little better. And so I can run the code. All right, so I've created perch. I've created different kinds of fish here as constants, and I've assigned them int, which is just their weight. Then I made a structure, and I called the structure a fishing line, kind of like in the same way that they did the Treehouse Pulley thing, but instead of Treehouse Pulley, I made a fishing line. And then here's the function can handle. In fact, it looks exactly the same as the function that they had in the book. So I may have just copied that over. Then the example is we create different pound fishing lines, and one massive one called the steel cable. So now here's the difference, is that I created a function here called add fish to my lines. And then it's passing in the fish's weight. So it's doing this if statement. Oops, it's doing an if statement inside of the function, so I don't have to copy and paste it a bunch of times. And it just adds it to the line if it can. So now when at the end here, when I actually add the things to the line, I don't have to have that big, like, you know, all of those different chunks of code. I can just say add fish, add the perch, add the walleye, add the catfish, add the tuna, and then at the very end I'm printing out what the where the fish ended up and what the fishing lines capacities are currently at. So just to actually, this is the only difference between this and the assignment that I just showed you, is I made this function that accepts the fish weight. You'll see I put this little underscore here, and if you remember, that means that when you're just declaring it, it doesn't, you don't have to specify fish weight before the argument that you pass in. It just leaves it blank. So just to make the code cleaner, basically, is what this is for. Okay, hopefully that helps describe this silly assignment to you.